Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. If you will, turn with me if you're able. If you're in a place where you can safely do so, not driving down the interstate, but if you can, Philippians chapter 1. We'll be beginning in verse 12 today. And if you will, as always, I'd ask you to like, share, or comment on the post, and then we will dig in. Paul says, beginning in verse 12, I want you to know, brothers, that what has happened to me has really served to advance the gospel, so that it has become known throughout the whole imperial guard and to all the rest that my imprisonment is for Christ. Most of the brothers, having become confident in the Lord by my imprisonment, are much more bold to speak the word without fear. This is a difficult model to follow. Paul says, you know what, my suffering has really worked out for the good. Most of us, as human nature would have it, we do our best to avoid suffering. We don't want to deal with suffering and pain, but Paul says, and I'm sure Paul, if he had his rathers, would have dodged and avoided suffering and prison and all the things that he went through. But Paul says, as I look at it, it's actually worked out for good. He said other Christians, he says, they are more likely now to stand up and to speak. They're more likely to be brave and bold because they see that how I'm being treated and how I'm handling and continuing to preach the gospel. And so they're gaining confidence. They're he says, preaching the word again, they've become confident, bold to speak the word without fear. And she says they're more confident because of what's happened to me. And if that is the case, then so be it. I'll suffer for Jesus. And so he says that he's teaching us an important lesson here that the Romans are learning the hard way, I guess, that you can't persecute the truth of the gospel into oblivion. It seems like throughout history, that the more the harder the world has tried to stop the gospel, the more it grew, it spread even more, and that's exactly what happened here. Paul mentions here that it's become known throughout the whole imperial guard and to all the rest that my imprisonment is for Christ. They're beginning to realize that this is working out according to God's plan. One of the things, and I've mentioned this before, I think, there are areas of Europe and Rome that the gospel made it to, that we have evidence of Christianity in those areas that really you can't definitely track and say, okay, on this journey Paul went to that city, but somehow the gospel got there. And the general belief is that, again, Paul was chained to Roman guards, and they were switching those guards out on a regular schedule, that the whole time they were chained to Paul was telling them about the gospel, telling them about Christ. And then those soldiers, when they were relieved, would go back home, go to their towns, go to their villages, and then they would carry the gospel with them. And so the gospel ended up going to places that Paul himself never got to go. And so let me encourage you today. Sometimes we don't understand maybe why some of the things are happening to us the way they are, why perhaps you're suffering some, being persecuted some, maybe at work or in your own family. But know that even in the face of persecution, the gospel can blossom if we allow it, if we take advantage of those opportunities. And so let me encourage you today to whatever opportunity, however you find yourself, whether you find yourself on the mountaintop or in the valley, to continue to share the good news of Jesus Christ. Have a good day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.